why are you in the truck?
Because I'm just doing what I do every day. I'm just working.
Okay, but I sent you that text for a reason. And there's a reason.
Okay.
You're
So
not allowed to
what
get in
would?
the truck if you're not going to pay for the jump box or buy another jump box.
Okay. So what would you like for me to do from this point?
I mean, you saw my text, right?
Again, what would you like for me to do?
Clearly what I say doesn't go, right?
I'm just asking, what do you need me to do, man?
Pay them. It's that simple. I mean, you've been giving almost a month now to figure that part out. Yeah, like you really don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I care a lot about what I do, man. I do a really good job, and I care about this and what I do. So don't tell me I don't care.
But there's a jump box mixing that needs to be replaced.
Yeah,
It
okay.
needs to be in that truck.
Yeah, well, I'm not the only person that has access to this vehicle, and you know that, so.
I understand that, but the day it got lost, you were the only person driving that vehicle.
The day it got lost, that doesn't make any sense.
Okay, see, now you're going back and forth with me.
And you are with me.
Okay, so go ahead and park the truck then if that's how you feel.
10-4. And just like that, I just had to document it. I knew it was gonna be funny, but it is what it is. Just giving the money, the $6 that I got for this call, and just move forward. Like at the end of the day, man, he's not gonna freaking like. It's just disrespectful. And if it's me disrespectful, it's cool. But it is what it is. I'm gonna figure out a way to just break through and be happy and just keep learning. Like, they're not gonna get me like that, man. I'm not the only person that goes in this truck, and they know it. So. Sometimes, like, even if it's a job at stake, sometimes you gotta kind of stand up for yourself. And well, not even sometimes, every time we should always stand up for ourselves. But yeah, like at the end of the day, I know I'm righteous. I know I didn't do anything stupid. And the thing is, I asked them to go back in the camera to see. I asked them to go back in the camera, and they talking about something. They can only go back 30 days. What kind of shit is that? Like, I mean, it could make sense in a way. Like, I get it. There's barriers and limitations. Maybe there's a fee, but whatever. Like at the end of the day, it just is what it is. You know, two angry people, two egos collide. And I'm just gonna keep happy. I'm gonna be respectful. I'm gonna clean the truck for the most part. You know, they said park the truck. I'm not gonna do anything stupid. Just gonna be respectful of it, and let's go from there. Whatever. I mean, I care. Believe me, I do care, but it just is what it is.
It's gone. And so I think we're definitely in the right place, and I have hope. There's just too much money. Bitcoin hitting $1 trillion, that's too big to fail. Now we are at the size that Chase was at when it got a bailout. Yeah, you know, there's no way that they can say, okay, we're going to bail those guys out, but not us. The institutions are going to get bored. Tesla just bought some. You know, the other Fortune 500 will follow. The ship has sailed, and this industry is here to stay.
Yeah. You know, one of the interesting things is I hear you discuss this at a broad philosophical level. We're in this incredibly politically polarized time right now, obviously, but I imagine people who are on the libertarian side and on the progressive social justice side of the equation are probably both nodding their heads listening to some of the points that you're making about keeping the fruit of your labor a more fair, balanced, and open system.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. They say, well, the system is systemically flawed, so we need to change the system. It's just bizarre to me that a lot of people come out and say, well, the solution is to make a bigger and more powerful system. It's like, no, just because you think you might be in charge of that system for a while doesn't necessarily translate to you actually getting what you want. Almost always you lose control of the Leviathan, and then people co-opt it who actually have opposite values as you, and now they're in a much better position to massively hurt you. You don't solve a bad system by building a bigger system. You solve it by fundamentally changing the relationship and the nature of the system. We did this. Americans are the original revolutionaries. We had this great Revolutionary War, and at the end of it, the Europeans were absolutely convinced that George Washington was going to become king of America. In fact, they were trying to figure out, why doesn't he have children? Is he sterile or is it his wife? And they were betting maybe if his wife was, who could we marry him to so that he can build a dynasty, right? So they were like, well, which country is going to be first? Certainly France, and then when will the British crown recognize the American crown and so forth? This was correspondences. They actually still have them in European museums between different people throughout Europe. And then we say, hey, Washington's resigned his commission, he's given up the army, and he's just, they're going to do this democracy thing, this constitutional republic. And they're like, yeah, okay, all right, it's clever, but no, what's the route? What's the trick? It just blew their minds that we would be so crazy to be like Cincinnatus and handle this power back and put people in charge. It's madness. And shortly thereafter, there's the French Revolution, and all the kings are like, whoa, this thing is starting to catch on. We're a little scared of it. So we were the original revolutionaries in that respect, and we didn't always honor the things we put on paper, but that mindset is inculcated and ingrained into our culture. And I like to believe that if you don't like the system you have, then you should just go change it. And don't ask for permission. Find a way to make it happen. And if you have values, try to find a way to grind your values into the system that you're creating and make them immutable. The power of blockchain is that you can do that with code. For example, Satoshi said 21 million Bitcoin. That's not a debate. It's there. It's built into the system. Whether you agree with it or not, that's the term of use going into that. It's cut into stone. You might as well tattoo it on your body. It's not going to change. Okay? And you could now, because of programmability, you can build social structures and settlement systems, lending systems, whatever you want, with that same level of immutability of value. And I think that's the core proposition of our space. Now, beyond the incentives engineering we do and the liquefaction of value and so forth, the fact that our philosophy, our principles, even if they're inconvenient to the moment, can be enshrined in a way that they're immutable. Bitcoin was tested. For example, in 2013, when Mt. Gox collapsed, the Bitcoin Core developers had millions of dollars of their own money on Mt. Gox. And there was people walking around saying, well, should we fork Bitcoin to reimburse the people who lost money because it's such a catastrophic event? The core developers didn't even consider it. They said, no way, no how. We're not going to think about it. It is what it is. We lost our money this time, but for the integrity of the system has to preserve and run as it was written. Code is law in this respect. That's a new thing in humanity. We're very good at making rules and then having exceptions to the rule. No hats. I guess you can wear a hat. No masks. Okay, I guess you have to wear a mask. We're always good at finding that one little edge case and saying, no. But the laws of physics don't have exceptions. There's been more than one mountaineer climbing a mountain who suddenly wishes that gravity didn't apply to him. So no matter how much he has that wishful thinking, he's just going to have to deal with the consequences of gravity. And similarly, it's nice to have social institutions and structures where you have that same level of certainty and assurance. And if you can encode them with good principles, they'll endure generation after generation, and then we can build a proper society on them that's fair for everyone.
Yeah. It's a powerful and very large vision, which brings me to this question. In terms of pragmatically, where are we right now with Cardano in the process of realizing that vision?
What's great is there's a lot of competitors. There's Algorand and Tezos, and there's F2 and so forth, and all of us are kind of scratching at the same things. And that's great because of their strength in numbers, and they have different philosophies and teams and scientific approaches, and so somebody's going to get it done. Cardano, I think, is the leader right now in terms of, because we did the deep investments in science, and we did the deep investments in proper engineering, and we have market access to the places where I think this is going to shine the brightest. As I said, I'm not here to make the 17-year-old yield farmer in his mom's basement in New Jersey rich. I mean, he'll figure it out for himself. He's okay. I'm worried about the farmer in Ethiopia. But, regardless of where you fall on the spectrum, there's enough people here that we're starting to see very real progress on scalability, sustainability, and interoperability. There's protocols like BIPA-POWs and a lot of cool sidechain protocols that exist to move value and information between systems. The Oracle systems like Chainlink and so forth have really evolved, and they've gotten to a point where they're starting to become great protocols, and the next generation of them are going to be phenomenal. We're starting to see tons of very scalable engines to replace that steam engine of proof of work be proposed that are academically reviewed and tested at scale. And so there's an inevitability behind that. The hard part is governance, and that's a huge experiment. Well, I think we're the leader in that because we have something called Catalyst, and we have over 10,000 people actively participating, voting, debating, and before the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised to see that grow to 100,000 people. And it's going to be funding tens, eventually hundreds of millions of dollars worth of projects, and then eventually used for governance, where it actually will decide how to upgrade the system. And we've built that with great universities like University of Lancaster. We built that with European Union grants like the Horizons 2020 program, with IBM Research and Guard Time. So we have a lot of great partners there. People like IdeaScale, they work with us. The CEO of that group, I think, is going to be running a Cardano stake pool. But that's just the beginning. And that's probably the hardest of all the problems, because we don't really have a model. It's one thing to say, is there something that runs with billions of people? Sure, Google, great, okay. Or Windows. All right, so we have that. Interoperability, we have Wi-Fi, it works, right? So we have this concept of something that's universal. But is there a perfect government? Is there like one country on the map you can point to and say, everything there works, it's utopia land? No, humans are humans. There's no one of anything. How many languages do we have? I had an employee who spoke Aramaic. I was like, wow, I didn't even know that language was. I have these clay tablets from Babylon. I mean, it's like he probably can read them. It's a crazy thing to have that kind of concept. Governance is the hardest of all of it. I think that's going to take decades of my career to get there. But we have a process to gradually move in the right direction. And there's going to be a lot of setbacks and failures and so forth. But real use and utility, that's going to be happening at scale, I think, in 3 to 5 years, where millions of people are going to earn their living working in this industry, and it's sustainable. Millions of people will be getting loans from this industry on a regular basis. Millions of people getting their insurance policy from this. Billions, if not trillions of dollars will be moved in remittances every year through this system on its rails at a super low cost. That's 3 to 5 years, I think. That's inevitable. And also, you're going to see institutional competition. Only a third of central banks are BIS members, and 2/3 are not. And they get screwed by the 1/3 who are. So there's all these CBDCs, central bank issued digital currencies. We think of the Bank of China, we think of the Federal Reserve, but Angola and Zimbabwe and all these other guys are saying, hey, how about we get some fairness finally? So if they don't get it from BIS, they're going to create their own rails, and they're going to be using our technology to create those types of rails. So 3 to 5 years, all that's coming, and that'll lead to the next wave, and within 20 years, I think it's inevitable.
Yeah. Charles, we could talk for probably 6 hours here, but I know you have a hard stop in a few minutes. For people who've listened to this discussion and maybe are hearing it at this level of detail for the first time and have just had their minds opened up, what final thoughts would you like to leave them with?
There's plenty of time. With every technological revolution, you have all these prophets who come and say, now is the time, and you must invest now, you must participate now, and if you missed it, you'll miss the future. I mean, you can build a multi-billion-dollar cell phone app today. You can build a multi-billion-dollar internet business today. You can build a hardware company, make computers, and build a multi-billion-dollar. We've been doing that since the 50s. Okay, so there's plenty of time. What you need to do is go at your own pace, and you have to pick a problem that you're insanely passionate about. I have people that come to me and say, how do I learn how to program? I say the best way to learn how to program is find something you want to solve and go write code until you've solved it. For example, maybe you want to write a web scraper. Maybe you want to automate something. Maybe you want to write a mod for Minecraft, so you have like spells in Minecraft. Whatever the hell your itch is, go figure that out. And then you'll learn code as you go, and you have a goal that you're working towards. So in the cryptocurrency space, blockchain space, we have problems. It can be, maybe I want to build Uber for food and in my little town in Tanzania. And I wanted to be able to allow farmers to directly sell fruits and vegetables to the restaurants and create some service for that. Okay, there you go. Build it on our infrastructure. We'll give you batteries included, a lot of stuff. And if it takes you 5 years to do it, it takes you 5 years to do it. It's probably still viable. It's probably still underserved. Whatever your itch is, do that. There's plenty of time, and all the information is free or near free. The chairman of the Securities Exchange Commission used to teach at MIT, Gensler, and he's got these beautiful lectures up on YouTube from his time at MIT teaching about cryptocurrencies and digital currencies, like 23. They're free. The Princeton University created a beautiful class on Coursera and a free textbook on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. It's free. So take the time. There's tons of books. There's tons of materials. And if it takes you 5 years, it takes you 5 years. If this tech is real, it's here to stay. And what is meaningful to you is your problem, your social problem, your community problem. And if you really want to solve that, we are now giving you better tools to solve that problem. And if you think that's inconceivable, imagine yourself in 1995, you're at a cocktail party, and someone comes up to you and says, I have a business idea. I said, what is it? I want to create a service where you carry this computer with you that somehow is connected to this global network, and you can push a button and a stranger will show up, and you can just ride with that stranger and he'll take you anywhere you want to go. And they'd be like, you're mad. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And now it's like, it's obvious, it's Uber, right? You can just use this phone. It used to be don't talk to strangers over the internet. Now it's like, use the internet to have a stranger show up, get in his car, and drive at 2 o'clock in the morning while you're drunk somewhere. And that we just accept that that's a normal thing. So technology enables insanity. It enables things that were inconceivable to us. And the point of our technology is infrastructural. It's enabling the entrepreneurs of the future to realize dreams that were previously impossible.
Yeah. Very well said. Charles, thank you so much for joining us.
Ash, this was so much fun. Cheers.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Thank you for watching this interview.
I was one of the, and I'm really fucking hungry. It's a combination of that, maybe like the fact that I'm pretty much, I think I'm fired. He said park the truck. I think that's, I mean, I don't know, it is what it is, but I feel like in my gut, I just feel like, ugh. It could be as well that I'm hungry. I haven't eaten anything. It's 4 o'clock. I worked at 2, and yeah, this morning I didn't eat no food. Yeah, I'm starving. I ain't eat no food this morning. You know, why? I don't know. I was just like, I started to like listen to instrumentals, and by the time you know, I had to go to work. And then once I get working, I usually don't stop until I'm like really, really hungry. But since they told me to come back, I'm not gonna stop. I'm not even gonna be like, give them any doubt. You know, just I'm gonna be respectful. Just bring their property back to their property. And that's it. Just like I will appreciate it if I fired an employee, I had to let somebody go. I would appreciate them to just get back to safety, if you will. You know, bring back their asset, because this isn't mine, and I gotta be respectful like that to them. So I'm not even gonna stop nowhere. I'm thirsty as fuck. I'll just grab something to drink when I get in my truck. But one of the things that I was listening to, one of the things that caught my attention was a story that the guy that was just previously talking about crypto, very educated. Just the way he sounds, the nigga sounds like he knows his shit. But he said he experienced something. Well, he said he traveled like 52 countries or 52 is it countries? I don't even know how many countries we have in this world. Well, he traveled a lot of places in a short time frame. And then, number one, from a macro perspective, like the way you perceive the world after doing that, your point of view must be phenomenal in a good way. Like, even if it's bad things that you see, just being able to, like, your level of gratitude, at least for me, I think my level of gratitude would dramatically increase if I traveled that many places in any time frame, goddammit. But one thing that he said was that he used to go to this diner every day, and in this diner there was this dude that walked in, and the dude started talking to his wife or whatever, and the wife started crying, and and what happened was the dude was saying in Spanish that the cop pulled him over and seen money in the vehicle, and the cop ended up confiscating all of their money. The dude was a worker, but supposedly it was something about drug money or something like that. But the thing is that person didn't have the story. I'm not gonna be able to say like the person did, but pretty much that money was stolen by the police. Like the police in Virginia had hit a lick on that dude, being that he wasn't a citizen, and he took the money. And he didn't go to jail or nothing. He just took the money, and the guy couldn't sue or whatnot because he doesn't have the right to. He's not a citizen, or I don't know what the legalities or the facts behind that is, but the fact that, number one, I don't know if this guy's even white, black, but he doesn't look dark skinned. And again, it speaks volume on like even the mentality that I've grown up on. And sometimes I say, crackers and white people and fucking, just stupid, ignorant comments that really are not facts. They have no facts behind it, because there is good people that not only there's good white people, there's good of all cultures that not only are they like not going against and doing things like they've like bad people or whatnot, but they actually are taking the time to the thought energy, the time, the effort to fix it. And he has said a point that struck me is like, if you have all these problems, like fix it, you know what I mean? At least put your energy toward fixing it. Don't like, and it's true, like a lot of times I complain, and I'm not saying this is gonna be the last time I ever complain, but it's always good to hear somebody like put you in your place when it comes to what's right. What's right is what's right, no matter what. What's right is always going to be right. And yeah, it just does me well to know people are actually taking action and not just talking smack, and making a big difference at a high level, and sometimes even at a low level. At whatever level you're at, the fact that this type of infrastructure is being created, to me, is phenomenal. And like I've always thought like everybody needs access to everything. There's no way that a place in another country, like I know we have enough resources. I believe wholeheartedly we have enough resources for everybody to prosper. I believe that wholeheartedly. I never had the facts or the knowledge behind it, how to scientifically communicate that or prove it through a balance sheet or whatever. I just believe that from a fundamental perspective, I believe that we're all put on this earth, and everything that we need is here. Period. I believe that. And just recently, when I left the country for a little bit, and like ideas started to think, it's like, wait, why the fuck? Because there was a problem. Every so often the power would go off, and thank God the place that I stayed, they were one of the more they were a business, so they had generators, and 9 times out of 10 the power that were in that area that was in my building came on first and stuff. But I remember sometimes it didn't, and it was kind of routine-ish in a way. But I think I was a big part of that problem, because I was fucking utilizing the fuck out of the Wi-Fi and the energy, and I was on it all day. I think that was part of the problem. But if not, the point is that as I was standing on the balcony, I look outside, and as everybody's lights were off, I'd look outside and just hear the people communicating. Nobody was really crapping. It was just natural. It was just what had to happen. But I remember just thinking, and also me and someone had a conversation about this, but solar power, solar energy, it's clearly effective. It's clearly very economical, and there's no reason why everybody in countries like that shouldn't have access to solar power energy. The sun is beaming all fucking day usually in those type of places, so there really shouldn't be a lack of power. And I know we have the know-how on how to actually retain that power if there's a way. I don't know how, but I'm sure there's a way to retain that power for emergency's sake. There's ways, and I know it's not a matter of money that it can't be done. I know for a fact, it just can't be. It can't be. We have too much money that could be solved. But like when I start thinking practical or logical in terms of like what really happens, it's like, well, it has to be a money grab. It has to be because that's probably one of the greatest sources of income for somebody in that area. So because that is, they're gonna make sure that pretty much that doesn't happen, because as long like if you're taking away from somebody's pocket, it's gonna affect, like, it's like if you're in the drug game, you know, let's say you move to a new neighborhood, but you got it, you the sauce, you got a good connect, and you got good drugs. You go to a new neighborhood and everybody's like, hold up, this nigga got it, bro. He got cheaper, more quality drugs. He's good people. He be hooking it up. It's gonna rub friction in somebody. Somebody's not gonna be happy about that, no matter how you slice it. And the reason is because you just pretty much took customers away from somebody else. Like, you just pretty much, like, if you make a big enough impact, you're denting somebody else's pocket. Somebody else is gonna be like, yo, what's going on? Like, so and so ain't hit me up no more. What's up? Where they going? Like, they gonna find out, and they gonna find out what's happening. And you're pretty much creating friction in doing that. Same in this scenario. It's like, you know, if somebody goes to a country and just actually innovates or creates something, or if a person there is trying to build and do something that could help people, but is going to take away from somebody else's pocket, there's going to be friction created. Good, bad, or indifferent, maybe that's not the right term, but that's not good, because I don't think it's right. You know, but I heard an example. The reason I say this is because I heard an example. Like, he was saying that if Zimbabwe or something, they're going to create their own trails, or their own rails. And to me, I don't know what that fully means, but that's what I hear. In my understanding, I hear that they're just going to create ways to transact and conduct business and conduct commerce within these transfer systems. Because from my knowledge, or from what I think is right now, like what I understand it to be now, is what I'm trying to say, is like, in order for them to be able to have access to and pay somebody else for a service across the world, they have to go through what is the traditional system. They have to go through, you know, these major banks, wiring, whatever the technology behind transferring money to faraway places. Well, now with what's happening with the cryptocurrency and blockchain, it allows anybody to be able to tap into this as long as they have internet. So, number one, a great place to invest, in my opinion, is Wi-Fi and internet and connection. Well, it's a really good thing. It does me well to know that at least it gives people opportunity to it just opens up the world for even us, like even the people that are super privileged. And I go like that because even though we think we're privileged, there's a pro and a con to everything. Like I always say, you know, even though some people get further ahead, we're never gonna get so far ahead to where like we're gonna reach our full human capacity, because we still got people that are being left behind on some greedy shit. And we gotta, as a nation, and I'm only a part of it, and sometimes I do bad stuff and I be saying stupid shit, sometimes I don't contribute towards good, but as a nation, I believe, for example, men like that and sharing this education is important, because number one, the system has been created for people to actually transact, and that main problem that has been going on from a world economic perspective is being solved. It's being solved, and that does me well. It's good to know. But then another thing I was thinking is like when the lights would come on, you would hear like not all the kids, but you would hear like a group of kids just cheer and just get really happy, excited that the lights came back on, you know. And eventually people get accustomed to stuff, and you know, they just kind of get in the rut, which we have that here as well. But you know, it's so funny how, you know, kids, they're super grateful for this everything, you know, they're just super grateful and pure, and there's no reason why we need to suppress our jits. We don't need to suppress our kids or our future. We don't need to suppress them by taking away from them or making them start in a position of like figuring it out and struggling if they don't need to. There's just no reason for that. And it carries on, you know, ultimately it leads to what what we have today, the life that we have. But some are okay with that. You know, it all depends on the position that you're in. If you're in a position of strength, if you're in a position of being in business and in power, that may not be a bad thing. You know, that may be a good thing, because those people are conditioned to work for you, or work in general. And as long as they're conditioned that way, then your pockets are being full. But nonetheless, I'm getting back to the office. You know, I'm just gonna keep my composure. I'm just gonna be respectful. I'm gonna turn the keys in. I'm gonna give them the money, the $6 that I owe them from this call that I just had. It was $6 overage. Just pay them that and just get in my truck and head out. I feel like it's the beginning of a football game or something. Like, you feel the butterflies and stuff until it happens. But the one thing that I promised myself, instead of replying, instead of responding, I'm just gonna breathe and just smile. Because I'm not gonna turn up. I'm not gonna fight nobody. I'm not gonna create a scene. Even though I'm upset, I'm just gonna smile and be positive, no matter what. And if they ask me questions, just leave it at that. I don't know. It depends. I don't know what questions they're gonna ask me, but it's gonna be more silent. I'm gonna try my best to just be silent. Let it flow, but be in control of me. As in, don't allow somebody's. I don't need to react. What's been done has already been done. Nonetheless, I am grateful for this opportunity, for what I've done, with all the people that I was able to help. This opportunity was great to me, like super great, and it is what it is. Like, all good things don't last forever, like they say. This was awesome, and it's gonna last forever for me, because it just taught me so many things about me. Just number one, I have to be in a space where I'm helping people. I never thought that I'd enjoy this as much as I did, but I enjoyed it, and it's okay. Like, I'm just gonna keep growing and being better, and just learn from everything. And I learned a lot about me. I could communicate better. I could do a better job of communication. I need to put myself in a position of strength, instead of weakness. So sometimes, I just need to put myself in a position of strength. I knew that, and honestly, I knew that they were gonna do it. Like, they just wanted to use me for my services for the last couple, the busy calls, because I noticed that they had, the last calls I had, when I got them, it said it was like hours late. It was like an hour and a half, 2 hours late. So I know they were backed up. But they'll find a solution, just like every business will. They're not gonna hurt. They're not gonna struggle. Somebody else will fill this position. This is not something that it takes a rocket science to do. It's just fun and addicting, because I'm just constantly helping people. But it is what it is. I'm just gonna do my best, keep developing, keep improving, and go from there. Alright. So this is my last, I think it's my last tow for this company. Will it be my last tow? Probably not. But for now, it just is. And I know there's other companies that would be more than happy to hire me. But for now, I just gotta take my time, be grateful, and just observe and learn and make this money.